Hello everyone, Fujosevich here. Welcome back to some Hearthstone with a HandBuff Paladin deck as we continue to test out basically all of the fun decks that are out there on the ladder right now. And this is one that has caught my attention for quite some time. Oh, no dragon in hand, but our priest friend is worried about falling behind. So this deck really relies on the Grimy Goon. Okay, is there a dragon now? Yes, there is. Okay, interesting. This deck relies on the Grimy Goon mechanic. And what we're going to do is we're going to coin out Ascension. For a number of reasons, it's a good statted 4 minion, or turn 3 drop. For 4 mana, 4/6 taunt is pretty good. And so this deck really relies on this whole HandBuff mechanic where you're giving your minions in your hand +1/+1. So this is a super deck, minion heavy deck, which is interesting. It's not necessarily something that you see too much of. Generally, we try and have more... I want to say, oh, just attacking in? Sure. I'll take those trades. So now we have a couple options. You know there's a dragon in hand, so we're not going to Dirty Rat. That is for sure. We do have some issues, though, of course. We're at a little bit of a disadvantage right now with the mana, with our mana usage. I mean, I wouldn't mind throwing out an Accolade of Pain early. But I mean, I feel like I can take that loss there to just play another strongly statted minion. That priest is not going to be able to deal with efficiently at 4 attack. That's kind of the priest's weakness, which is why I wanted to have 2 turns of a strongly statted Senjin Shield Master out there. There could be a Blackwing Corruptor now, which would be actually pretty bad for us. But that would be pretty good top decking from our opponent. We're very happy that they didn't end up getting that. And this could, I guess, be their dragon that they've had activating these 2 cards. So maybe we're in good shape. And it looks like we're in actually okay shape right now, simply because we've had a couple good, couple decent exchanges. Now the only issue is here, if we just simply trade in the Senjin and we play Azure Drake, sure, we draw an extra card, but Draconoid OP kind of runs away with the game, I think. So we're going to trade into that. And this will not allow the 3, I mean, at most the priest can heal this back to 3/3, so we could trade in with the weapon if we need it. But that's not really the game plan. I think the game plan is basically to have the weapon in order to be able to defend the Azure Drake that we play next turn, or possibly something else. And if you are taking a look at the deck list here, this is... Okay, so now they have dragons in hand, and lots of dragons in hand, so they're going to be able to activate the rest of the game, basically, here. And we have to basically be prepared to play around that. There isn't necessarily a lot of draw in this deck. We have a couple Acolytes of Pain, a couple Azure Drakes, and I put the Lay in hands basically just to make this a little more anti-aggro. And that's also why we have the Dirty Rat in this sort of matchup where it's a mid-rangey control matchup. Oh my goodness. 4 cards get buffed. That's awful for us. Oh my, that is going to be awful for us. That's looking like we could just lose right here. And then one of the strange, and we know that there's 3 minions, so now we obviously cannot Dirty Rat. One of the things that I did include here that maybe people will think is strange is the Hammer of Wrath, and I agree that this is not a conventional card. Yeah, this is fine. I mean, this is not a good turn. I'm not happy with the way this worked out, but we'll deal with it. And so... We have a few things buffed up here, but honestly not that well at this point. The Dirty Rat is very much an anti-aggro play where once your opponent's blown their hand, you throw down a huge taunt for very, very cheap and then go ahead and do other things. Oh, this is just going to get out of control. So now we're really reliant on drawing our Acolytes, or our Aldor Peacekeepers in order to deal with these big minions. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that right now. It just doesn't seem like that. But we'll see. We still have a couple turns before we lose, that's for sure. I think we have to just Azure Drake and hope for something awesome to happen. That's not necessarily awesome, but it is a pretty big buff on what's going on in our hand right now. So if our opponent does go face, that's 9, 10, 11. That looked really strange coming out of the hand. Coming out of their hand as a 4/2. Or 5/2, excuse me. Yeah, so this is a really, really interesting trade here. There's a good chance if we play Tyrion, we just die to Shadow Word Death or an Entomb. So we have a couple options. I'm expecting basically the only play to be Rag. The issue here is, though, that Azure Drake doesn't trade with anything right now. Like Azure Drake can't, like if this was still at 4 or less attack, we would be really, really happy. But the issue is right now, I think we need to attack in here and then hope that that we win the 50-50 and that Rag goes ahead and heals face. And now that's just a loss. Oh, hello, and this is definitely something that does not happen often, to me at least, I don't think, where we get a shot at redemption here. Queuing in up against our same opponent here 2 games in a row. That's obviously a really bad result for us here, but we have a decent enough start where we're going to have strongly statted minions for the next few turns coming out. And that's going to be something, and if the priest just loses tempo and heals, that's fine. Oh, coining out the heal. Now we're in really, really bad shape. But hopefully there's no Shadow Word Pain in hand, and then Squirming Tentacle can kind of do work right now. And then we will be able to follow that up with a nice True Silver. So maybe we'll have a little shot at redemption here on the ladder. This never happens to me. Back-to-back games where we're able to have a couple goes at the same opponent. I know people have actually, I've heard people talking about that online, how they would like to see that sort of thing. Oh, this could actually be really good for us if nothing else happens. Oh, this is really good. Okay, so the plan here is we True Silver. And then trade in our 1-1. And now there is the issue of leaving up the 2-3, but I think getting rid of the drawing mechanic is more important. And because the coin is gone, they can't coin out Blackwing Technician or anything like that. So it looks like we're in a decent position right now. I don't want to say we're in a strong position because we have had to go through quite a few of our resources in order to get to this point, and our opponent has been able to draw a little, so we're a little bit behind that way. But hopefully we'll get a little bit of value. Oh, that will potentially hurt a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and Azure Drake here for a couple reasons. Oh, that's not the best. Can we attack here? If we attack here and then they heal up to 5, that's not good enough. So I was definitely hoping for a slightly better top deck situation there. Maybe we should have just thrown down the Grime Street Enforcer and tried to ensure ourselves of 2 turns of buffing. And it looks like, honestly, now we're going to be able to do that same thing right now. And we're just going to go ahead and do it this way. Okay, so I think what we're going to be doing here is buff the hand. No, we're not going to buff the hand. We're going to trade in here. Then play the Enforcer. And then just pass. And the reason for this is because I don't want this to be 5 attacks so that it cannot get Shadow Word deathed. So the only way that this can get removed right now is through an Entomb, which is a ton of resources for our opponent to commit. Otherwise, it looks like we might be able to get 2 procs off of this, which would be kind of sweet. Oh my goodness, household aggro. This could be horrible for us, couldn't it? Let's buff and get rid of this, and we'll attack, and we'll just let things get buffed one more time. And so the idea here is that was definitely not a well thought out turn, and apologies for that. But I think the fact that we have some really, really large statted minions could really work in our favor. Obviously, opponent could just heal and trade in now. But I think we still have a pretty big hand that we can kind of do a little bit of work to hopefully try and fight through some of these other dragons that we know are going to be incoming. And that's fine. That trade is negligible. That's a little worrying, but I mean, we can Aldor that down, and I think we will, just for the tempo of it. The issue is the fact that we do have a lot of our big minions still remaining in our deck. So that's actually a little worrisome that they could take a Tyrion or Rag or any number of bad minions for us, to be honest. Even right now, I think our second Grime Street Outfitter would actually be kind of bad because they have a huge hand. So this turn, I think we're kind of forced to Aldor. It's definitely not what we want to be doing. That's, I'm assuming, going to be negligible at the end of the day. And I think we just do this for cycle and hope that there's no MCT. I don't remember if we've seen a duplicate or not, if we have to expect an MCT. But I feel like at this point, I kind of want to play out the hand a little bit. I am going to hang on a little. Minimal. I mean, I guess I'll hang on to Acidic Swamp Ooze, which was the stolen card, not the top deck. So then this one here. This is the potential Tyrion or Rag, I guess. And we don't really have an answer anymore because we played our Aldor Peacekeepers, so we don't really have answers to big minions anymore. We have to kind of try to stay ahead of our opponent, which is not something that we're going to really be able to do unless we get a Grime Street Enforcer going again, lasting on board for a few turns, or if we... Oh, that's brutal for us. Dirty Rat is not what we want to see, that's for sure. That's not what we want to see. We want a top deck. Do we have... Well... I mean, I guess we just refill this way, right? Continue buffing our hand. There's going to be a huge acidic swamp ooze, that's for sure. Oh, I really wanted this game after we got beaten that first one. That's unfortunate for us. Where did... this got played off, so this is still our Tyrion that we have to deal with, I'm assuming. We'll just call it Tyrion. I mean, they could end up with a Loot Hoarder or Acolyte of Pain or something, but... I discover a card as well. It could be... Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Second Rate Bruiser. Not the worst card. Definitely not the worst card that we have. And it looks like there might be a second proc off the Grime Street Enforcer. Oh. Maybe not anymore. Gonna force me to trade into that, unfortunately. Ooh. Yeah, now things are getting less than excellent for us. How do we win this? How do we win this? I don't know that we do win anymore. We have to attack into to trade. We have no draws left. This is just such an unfortunate trade for us.
This might sting.
Maybe we can buff these up out of this world. Do we just dirty rat? We dirty rat and we lose. This gets healed up to a 4/3. Holy Nova's still awful for us right now. I'm trying to think if there's any reason why this will make a difference. And I'm thinking this way now we can almost guarantee our 6/2 trading in there. And we're super, super reliant now on amazing top decks. Even lay on hands. I mean, not that we're going to get a turn of any sort of pressure. Oh, that is so bad for us. That's a great anti-aggro tech as well. That's a great card. That basically sealed the game, I think, for our opponent. Because we can't play Dirty Rat until the game's over. Until our opponent's hand is empty. Oh. What's going on here? Ah, Fairy Dragon. Nice. Nice early game card that you just throw out. Do I just empty my hand because it doesn't matter anymore? And it'll be fun to see what our opponent got anyways. Hey. Those are cards. And if this was Reno, then there's only going to be one dragon. Oh no, wait, never mind. There's two. There's literally a duplicate on board, right? None of those were created, I'm assuming. So I guess there's a chance? Oh no, no way. There's got to be, yeah, there had to be removal in our opponent's hand, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. Trade one of the 3/2s in. They heal up their taunt, and then we lose again. Losing back to back. That's okay. I have had a bunch of fun actually playtesting this deck, so I don't really mind showing a couple losses here. They happen. They happen to all of us. They happen to the best of us and me. So there's really nothing wrong with this. Yeah. Yep. And that's a loss there. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you've been enjoying the fun decks that I've been playing this season, trying to not be worrying about pushing or winning too often. Just want to be playing and seeing some of the more interesting interactions that Hearthstone has to give us and offer. And if you're new around here, you want to be getting updates when I post more of my videos, feel free to hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.